All right. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Brad Gottschall. I am your Lower Paxton Township manager. In typical fashion, I'm going to give a brief summary of this evening's agenda, particularly for the benefit of those who may be watching at home on television as the board gets settled in. This evening is a business session of the board. We have a number of items on the agenda. First, to include, under new business, we have an action to appoint members to the Lower Paxton Township Authority Board. We have action to approve a memorandum of understanding with Ghostwriter LLC for 2 projects within the Parks and Rec Department. We have action to adopt amendment number 1 to the management agreement between the Township Authority and the Lower Paxton Township Board of Supervisors. And then finally, under new business, we have action to approve the creation of the position of Deputy Director of Community Development. Following that, the board will take action to approve the improvement guarantees, the payment of township and authority bills, and then finally hear any last announcements before making a motion to adjourn. All that said, members of the board are seated and prepared to conduct business. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. I hereby call to order the Lower Paxton Township Board of Supervisors business meeting for Tuesday, June 3rd. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Supervisor Thompson. Just a brief note before we move on to the approval of the minutes. I would just like to note that we held executive session prior to the meeting today at 6:30 to receive information. All right, approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from February 11th, 2025?
I make a motion to approve those minutes.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any public discussion, public comment? All those in favor say aye. Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to public comment, I just want to remind everybody that we are asking to limit comments to 5 minutes. I will not interrupt you. I will simply raise my hand at 5 minutes, and you can continue or you can sit down, but I'm just letting you know that you're at 5 minutes. So please proceed. Please say your name and your address before speaking. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board and staff. My name is Bill Minsker. I am a 78-plus year resident of our township and of the village of Linglestown, or as Bill Bostic likes to say, the capital of Lower Paxton Township. I reside at 5956 Linglestown Road on the Square. Exactly 60 years ago, I began involvement with our township in a number of different activities. As I mentioned to you a few meetings ago, this began when I was 16 years old. I was the historian for the Linglestown Bicentennial in 1965. 2 years later, I became your historian for the township's bicentennial in 1967. I've continued this involvement. I love it. We have a dynamic and great township, and currently I'm on 2 of your boards, and hopefully a 3rd, which I will tell you a little bit more later. I have tonight desire to present to you 10 different projects which I would like to suggest in 10 different meetings during public comment for your consideration. These projects are positive. They are designed to bring a positive image to what we have been going through over the last few months of negativity, to rearrange how things are going here in the township with 10 new ideas. These are positive in nature, and they're designed to benefit our residents. Of these 10 projects, 6 of them have a history. One of them goes back to 1965, which I have been promoting since that time. So 6 of them, of the 10, have a history. 4 of them are new that I have not really mentioned to anybody, and I will present them to you. Of the 10, 8 have a cost. 2 of them have a significant cost. And the one that is most expensive, I will present to you first. And it also has the longest history, going back to 1965. 2 of the 10 projects have no cost to the township. So my desire is to introduce these to you for your consideration, one project at a time, during the next 10 supervisors meetings that I'll be able to attend. All 10 of these will require of you foresight into what can be done with our township, and not just a two-dimensional type of foresight of things printed on paper, but a three-dimensional, 3D vision of what can be done with our township in the future. That 3D vision, first of all, requires a dynamic view of what can be done. And I propose to you the word dynamic, one of the 3 Ds. Our township is a dynamic township, and we have a future that should continue that dynamism. The second of the 3 Ds all 10 of these projects are daring, and I dare you to consider them. I dare you to think about positive things for our township's future. And I am very excited about introducing these to you. And the third of the 3 Ds is that all 10 of these projects are doable, and are doable without really a lot of effort. So I am very excited about introducing to these projects to you in the future, and beginning 1 per meeting, I will do that. And I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Minsker. We are looking forward to your presentations. Yeah. Any other public comment? Yep, please.
Hello. Good evening to everybody. My name is Patty Chilla, and I live at 6316 Main Creek Drive, Harrisburg, PA. I've been a member of Lower Paxton Township for the past 20-some years. Prior to that, I was in Swadera Township. However, I'm in Lower Paxton now. And I'm here tonight on behalf of many of my neighbors to ask for help from Lower Paxton Township with regard to regulating the size and or duration of many of the celebrations that are going on all over our neighborhoods. Celebrations. Okay. Yeah, like outside celebrations, you know, in the outdoors. I'd like to propose or ask for possibly some type of ordinance that limits the number of days and number of people that attend these celebrations that have nothing to do with religion. The first one in Maiden Creek, when this occurred, had over 80 cars parked in our small cul-de-sac for days. I mean, it was just nonstop people from Ohio, New York, Texas, parking, jamming up the entire road to our home and surrounding area to celebrate their new home. Now, this was, you know, this went on in the evening, at night. People would come out, they'd drink a beer or, you know, and throw their can in their yard, not in my yard, but in the yards across the street. So that went on for like 3 or 4 days. Then I went over and spoke to the neighbor and said, look, you can't litter like that here. You need to pick up your trash. And if you don't, I'm going to call the authorities. So they did go out and they did pick up their trash. So that kind of ended that for a little bit. Then, about, I don't know, maybe a year later or sometime later, I don't have the exact dates. 4 doors up from us, one of the ladies, older ladies, died. That involved 16 days of nonstop people from everywhere, parking up and down both sides of our road, allowing only one line of traffic. There were little kids running in between cars. My husband, almost hit one coming down the road, and he wasn't driving fast, but they just were running out in between the cars, and because the cars were parked like they were, you couldn't even see what was going on. The grass wasn't mowed. It was a nightmare. So after about 14 days, I finally went up and I asked for someone there to speak English, and Loki came out, very nice lady, and I said, can you tell me what's going on here? She said, well, my Nana died. I said, okay, I'm sorry to hear that. And she said, it takes 16 days for her to go to heaven. So I said, well, what day is this? And she said, well, it's day 14. So I said, so in 2 days, this will all end and all these people will be gone? And she said, yes. So, it's just a new thing I've never even heard of. I mean, normally when somebody in our families die, we go to a funeral, or you go to church and you go to a viewing and hundreds of people come if he or she's a well-known person or whatever. Then you have your church, and then you go to the cemetery. Then we go to like a venue and we have a meal. So that isn't the situation for this group of people. So anyways, that's what happens when somebody dies. Fortunately, they didn't slaughter a goat like they did up in Swidera Township in Chatham Glen in the driveway. So thank God that didn't happen, because then I would have really been calling the police. So then, again, just last year, my next door neighbor had a 5-day celebration. Same thing, just people everywhere, tents, people getting dropped off by vans, people all day, all night, walking around that aren't normally in our neighborhood for the celebration of his 2 daughters, okay? That was a whole nother nightmare. So then just over Memorial Day, the house where the Nana died, they had a celebration that was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 3 days long to celebrate their son and daughter. And I'm not sure what they did, but what the son and daughter did, but it was about their son and daughter. So that lasted 3 days. This particular one, there were vans that dropped people off, and these people were standing outside my house, smoking cigarettes and throwing their butts on the ground. So I would just like to know if there's anything we can do that would stop or limit or control the situation, because this is it goes on 3 and 4 days. Dairy Street is lined with a lot of restaurants and buildings that could house and hold these celebrations. I just don't know why they have to be in our neighborhood and why it has to go on for days with hundreds of people. I'm just wondering if there's some kind of ordinance or anything that can help with the situation in our neighborhoods.
Thank you, Ms. Chilla. I know we do have a noise ordinance, but other than that, I don't think that there's anything that regulates celebrations under the township's purview.
Well,
if
I
you
know
would like
there
a
isn't
copy of our
now. Yeah.
noise ordinance, we'd be happy to provide it to you.
What about them when they park 3 and 4 cars deep in front of a fire hydrant? I mean, if somebody in my lower end of the cul-de-sac had a heart attack or a house caught on fire, you couldn't get down the street.
There are rules with respect to parking, and where you can park, and parking in front of fire hydrants. That's a code enforcement issue. Brad, sorry, Mr. Gutschall, anything to add?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's right. I mean, if you ever have an instance like that where there are literally cars either blocking fire hydrants, or you have either vehicles or pedestrians, people, blocking, streets, or blocking clear access or use of sidewalks. I mean, those are things that are already, permissible for the township to be involved with regard to enforcing those sorts of violations. But relative, certainly to having 100 people at your home to celebrate whatever the case may be.
For days and days.
That is a private property right, and like I said, like Chair Kurtz mentioned, unless they are violating the noise ordinance or some other law that may exist, there's very little we can do about that particular issue. But certainly the other violations you had mentioned are things that we would like to assist you with in the future.
And what should I do in that regard if that's what's going on?
Yeah, so if you see something, say something. So
That's what I'm doing.
Well, I mean, when it is occurring, you must contact the police. Like you had mentioned, the blocking of the fire hydrants. Immediately, call the police department. They'll come out and take a look. But you have to be caught in the act, right? In order for us to enforce any sort of violation that may exist. So if you see something, say something at that time, and certainly contact the police.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, ma'am. What exactly is the address, the general address of the issues that you've shared with us tonight?
Well, in my instance, it's in Maiden Creek. It goes on in other neighborhoods, but it's in Maiden Creek development. That's where I live, but I'm not the only one who has this problem. I've spoken to many people, and they all are kind of fed up with it. Because, I mean, we have parties too. I have a Super Bowl party, but people come, it lasts a couple hours, and people go home. We don't hang out in front of other neighbors' houses and smoke cigarettes and throw the butts on the ground in front of your houses and stuff like that, and just kind of hang out and stand there. And that's what goes on during these parties. I mean, my husband and I built a beautiful home, and now we're forced to move because it's just intolerable the way it is, so.
I take it Maiden Creek is not a HOA community?
No, it's
All
not.
right, thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Is there any additional public comment at this time?
Excuse me, Jay Purdy, 4731 Duke Street, and address Madam Chair for the first time. Welcome and congratulations. And I just wanted to ask, and it probably could be covered under the not public comment, the comment from the board members, to ask, it's been 3 weeks now since there was the public hearing regarding the fire departments, the fire companies, and hiring of full-time firefighters. I wanted to find out if there's been any action to expedite this situation, which is, even they pointed out, could happen at any day. They might not have people to respond. And if it's a question of whether 10 firefighters or full-time persons should be hired, or 12, it could be handled like, okay, hire 10, bring those 10 on as soon as we can, and then if you need 2 more, hire 2 more, because the allocation was approved last November, and that basically is my question. If you could outline what's being done to move that along, and I'm sure it'll probably be under the board members' comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Purdy. We'd be happy to address it, and Deputy Fire Chief Graham is here as well to answer any questions. Any other public comment?
Ladies first, go ahead.
All right. Kind and generous comment you just made. And I love the hand thing. The hand thing is so much better than the timer. My name is Kate Scheib. I live at 131 Oak Park Road here in Lower Paxton Township. Speak a little fast, so I do stay under my time limit like I did the last time. But my public comment tonight is going to be called, How Many Votes Does It Take to Pass a Motion? Part 2. To summarize from last month, I came up here, I talked a little bit about my varied government experience with different municipalities. I talked about why I attend public meetings, which is not only to see what the public has to say, but how the board conducts themselves and how they actually do business. I talked a little bit about, well, actually, I talked a lot about a motion that was made on March 4th with only a quorum of the supervisors present. The motion passed by a vote of 2-1 after the solicitor rendered a legal opinion that it only required a majority of the quorum present. Business continued. Next week, motion rescinded. Last month, I specifically asked the solicitor, could you please tell me how many votes does it take to pass a motion when a quorum of the board was present? She refused. I asked temporary chair, apparently McCormick at the time, would the board please request a written opinion on how many votes it takes to pass a motion when only a quorum is present? I haven't yet heard back, but there's a little more to the story, and I'm going to be generous because if I was specific, it would not be a very nice thing to say. Since my conversation and since my apparently television appearance last month, I've been contacted by a few residents. I'm in the grocery store. I'm getting gas at Costco. Doesn't really matter. I have people that come up to me and say, do you really think she made a mistake? And I'm like, yeah. Well, he said, then you're pretty naive because I'll tell you what, in this township, people will say what they need to say to get the motions passed that they want to get passed. So there's people here in this township that will believe that business is not being conducted like it should be. So, with that said, that's all I'm going to say about that comment. But I will ask you, Chair Kurtz, has the Board of Supervisors requested a written opinion, legal professional opinion, on how many votes it takes to pass a motion when a quorum, 3 members of the board, is present?
So thank you for your comment. I appreciate it. We have not asked for our solicitor to render a legal opinion. I agree with you. For a board of 5, a majority of 3 is needed to pass any motion, take any action. I think the question at the time, we, the board, the prior Board of Supervisors, approved the resignation of Chris Judd prior to the vote. And the question was, were we a board of 5 or were we a board of 3? Because 2 resignations had already been accepted. Now, I think the case that you're referring to is the only appellate case on this issue. And at that particular circumstance, I believe that it was a board of 4. So in that case, they were saying that a majority of 3 was required. In any event, I think it would be best to do what's practical for the township. We rescinded my appointment and moved forward with a proper vote by the vacancy board. The question is now moot. I am not inclined to spend township resources on the solicitor to draft an opinion for an issue that is moot. I invite the rest of the board to provide feedback, but that is my
I would respond
perspective.
that I appreciate your agreement that 3 votes are necessary in a quorum, but that really does not negate the legal opinion that was rendered on March 4th and sustained and upheld again the following week. So I'm not trying to be combative here. There will be times, a board of 5, 2 of you are on vacation, 1 of you breaks a leg, 1 of you is at a business conference, or who knows, all 4 of you choose to resign again, and you're going to get down to a board of 3. The legal opinion has been rendered that only a majority of a quorum is necessary, making any business decisions, development decisions, where are the fireworks going to be in Linglestown, whether Katie's used her 5 minutes. If you only have 2 and you're sustaining those motions are illegal, and anything you do can be challenged. So I just thought I'd shorten it just a little bit. I didn't mean to get into a whole discussion here, okay? But I do happen to have 5 copies of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court decision. It was a board of 5. It was not a board of 4. It rendered that a quorum was 3. 3 were required because 3 represents a majority of the full board. Ironically, Shipe versus Orlando deals with the seating of an interim appointed supervisor who was appointed by only 2 votes when 3 were present, so there was 1 dissent. And that supervisor sat. And actually, that supervisor happened to sit until they were kicked off by the Supreme Court of the state of Pennsylvania. So I'm just going to give this to the solicitor. I have a copy for each of you. I believe information is power. The more we know, the better we can govern. So I just thought I'd do a little bit of the work for you, and I apparently save the tax dollars. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scheib.
Thank you.
Good evening, John Packer, 5723 Kenwood Avenue. I have 2 things. First, last week at the Authority Board meeting, we went over the project in our neighborhood at Meadowbrook. Chairman Blaine is sitting back there, so he could speak to anything, but what I kind of want to go over, which I did then, but since they don't have the authority of the contract, the township does, it was kind of pushed a little bit. There wasn't much they could do. But what I would like to bring to your attention is the same thing that I did with them. At the last meeting, I did ask the manager, do we have a signed contract? What do we have with these people at this point? And he gave the date of the 25th. Well, that date is come and gone. So now we're under the point where they can be fined $1,300 a day from that point on. Solicitor Madden was also at the meeting. She didn't render any decisions, just gave her opinion on some stuff, along with Mr. Weaver, that, going forward, I guess they're just in a difficult spot. But my point to the, and I had a copy of the contract from last year, and under 16.02, owner may terminate for cause. Under A1, the contractor's persistent failure to perform the work in accordance with the contract documents, including but not limited to failure to supply sufficient skilled workers or suitable materials or equipment, or failure to adhere to the progress schedule, probably all of which they've violated. At this point, again, I don't know that we even have a written extension for them. It was supposed to have been done back in October. It was kicked to December, and now we're in June. So, as I stated then, I don't have much confidence that this company is going to do what they say they're going to do or when they're going to do it. So I was remiss in maybe following up a little bit and then doing some further reading and looking at some case law myself. Under D, so let's say you decided to exercise that right of ending the contract for cause. Basically, if you notify them, you have to give them 10 days, which then kicks in a time limit of 7 days for them to start to rectify, their failures and, satisfy the grievances of the township. So I just wanted to put that out there to the supervisors because, again, from the authority board, they don't control the contract, which I guess is something that's going to be discussed further down the road between the authority board and the township supervisors. So I'll just leave that at that for something for you to chew on, whether you take action or not. But I know it's the manager's job. In his job description, he is in charge of the letting of all contracts, so I know it falls under him, and I'm sure he will rely on what the solicitor has to tell him. But as you that are attorneys know, case law is only made when you push the limits, and I don't think you need to be afraid of dealing with this company, in any way, shape, or form that you have to. And while I was perusing the township Facebook page today, there's an issue going on with the waste, the pickup of stuff through Penn Waste. And apparently in that, just briefly, you've said that you're going to do anything and everything you can to hold them accountable and make them do what they're supposed to do. So why is this contract any different? Why do we just keep kicking this can down the road? And like I said, I have no confidence whatsoever that they'll comply. The second thing, I just want to piggyback on what Mr. Purdy said as far as the career firemen. I was able to attend the Public Safety Committee meeting yesterday, and was good to sit there and hear from all the fire chiefs and the presidents of the organizations and the director and the deputy chief behind me here. And I just have, I have the contract that I received that you have looking for salary information. And my understanding is that there's going to be a portion of next week's meeting that's going to be dedicated to public comment in regards to this. And I just really, really cannot wrap my brain around why at this point in time we are dealing with public comment. Because in that contract, under their scope of work, it says in writing, coming from a contract between the company going to research salaries, the township has authorized the creation of 10 new career fire positions. So what are we doing? I'm with Mr. Purdy. We need some better lead-ins and some guidance on what you're doing with these guys, because they're ready to move forward, but they're spinning their wheels because they're not getting what they need from you guys. So it's time to just, do what the previous board already voted to do and move things along.
Thank you, Mr. Packer. And again, I think we'll address some of the questions during board member comment. Anything else? Yes, please, Mr. Miller.
Board, William Miller, 4311 Crestview. In some of his discussion with the roads and the sewers, there was a recent repair on Elbridge in front of 1621. That road was marked in white probably, well, when they did it the first time, and they never came back to fix it. They paved, they infilled it and blacktopped it. They recently dug it up, and up at the top, I'm getting to a point with what's going on. They dug it up, and then they came back and it sank. They threw some patch on it again. It still sank. This is a new repair. I just don't know how, in other words, if all these roads are lumpy and the police, if they're flying up there in a car or an ambulance and they would hit this, it'll rock you. There's an existing one on Crestview, which I turned in, and Sam Miller had discussed it with me. I have a list of the people to call. But there's existing ones that are terrible to begin with. I'm just looking at overall the quality of the work as to who was watching what they were doing. There's approved compaction schedules. I mean, I've dug holes. There could be 10, 15 pipes in Harrisburg. I know the alley. And I was amazed. In your hand, you have to get it right. These ditches aren't really rocket science. So why can't they compact them correctly and at least do an acceptable patch so the roads aren't so lumpy? I think a lot of this could be avoided. And then I just don't know, how long are their guarantees for these things not to fail? In other words, how soon do they have to come back? Are they good for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? If people notice some subsidence, obviously we have that in this situation. How fast do they come back? I thought someone would have been back already. And I know it's raining and there's reasons, but still, I mean, this is being paid for out of, I guess, bond money, whatever. And I know that we are very proactive in our repairs, and people look at Lower Paxton. We are leaders in this. This I know. But the thing is, the people that are doing the physical labor there sometimes, I just think they had to be watched a little bit harder. And I think you would avoid a lot of these problems. And they should get back and probably fix what it is. Like I say, it's not rocket science. It's not that tough. They were probably in a hurry because they're behind other places, maybe. I don't know. This is my thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Blaine.
Good evening. Stephen Blaine, 5732 Kenwood Avenue. In regards to our project out there at Meadowbrook, do we have an updated on the paving? Have you heard anything from the contractor at all in regards to that?
Members of the board. Yes, sir. As of my update today on that, they are scheduled to be back. The subcontractor is scheduled to be back June 23rd to begin the paving, and it should last in duration for about 3 weeks.
Okay, that's we're looking at. I mean, there's still a lot of cement work to do. We've been here a year ago. We started this journey, and it's a year and a little over a year later, and I feel like we need some more township people out there to press the issue.
I was actually just informed by Director Weaver today that all concrete work has been completed. Is that, you're saying that that's not accurate?
No, they still have some driveways to do. They have to tear up a new curb because they destroyed somebody's sump pump area.
I'm aware of that.
You're aware of that? So that's, we're talking 2 weeks of cement work. I live there. We watch them every day, and we see how they move. So I'd be surprised if the project gets done by July 15th. I think that's what they originally talked. I'd be extremely surprised.
Thank you, Mr. Blaine. Any other public comment? Okay. Chairman and board member comments? The only other thing I wanted to add on with regard to the fire department and hiring career staff is, I know that we entered into this contract with PFM to do studies. I do think it's important in terms of long-range planning to make sure we do have correct numbers, but there has been meetings with PFM, and we do believe that they're continuing to move forward and make progress on that report. The one thing that I did want to note, in January, Deputy Fire Chief Graham provided us with a memorandum that had a number of different pieces of information in it with regard to the plan for hiring. And right now, we are in phase 2, which is written in CPAT testing, and that is scheduled for June 2025. So it's my thought that this study is running concurrently with the current schedule that has been in place. Phase 3, interviews and backgrounds, was scheduled in January to take place in July of 2025, and then hiring decisions and offers in August. Orientation in September, and full deployment in October. So the process with PFM, understandably, is taking some time, but it is not delaying this process at this point. Any other board comments on this issue? Or any other board member comments?
Yeah, I just want to say something to Mr. Miller. Yes, I agree with you, sir. There are requirements not only for the compaction, but the quality and size of aggregate. I did let Mr. Gottschall know that there is a similar situation on Devonshire Road as well. And I'm not aware, but I think we have GHD for inspection. I'm not sure if they're on site.
Well, if it's a sewer project, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. GHD for the sewer project, but with regard to street cuts would be HRG, so I'm not sure.
HRG.
We'll follow up on the process.
I will definitely look into if there's, inspection out in the field when the work is being completed. But we will definitely look into it.
My concern again, with the police and fire, I mean, I'm not trying to make this into a big deal, but when they're moving, they're moving. And
Yeah.
some of these things are absolutely brutal when you hit them.
I get it.
And I just, whether on a motorcycle like that, I just think that, it has to just be, again, a little bit better, and I appreciate it.
Agreed. Absolutely.
I want to talk a little bit about the process that we're doing for the Fire Bureau. There was a decision made last November to put 10 firefighters in the budget, and taxes were increased to hire those 10 career firefighters. Unfortunately, the 4 of the members of the board currently were not involved in that vote, and there's a lot that we don't understand. However, reading the 361-page report from MRI, it states very specifically that the duty of the Board of Supervisors is to actively engage with the cross-section of the fire companies and also with the public. And that's all we're trying to do. as Supervisor Kurtz has already mentioned, I don't believe we've held up the process that was outlined back in January, but it's the board responsibility to determine the goals, objectives, and the vision for the Bureau of Fire. So we're doing our due diligence to meet with the cross-section of the fire companies, to also meet with the public, so that everyone, it's funny, we talk about full transparency in so many things, but when it comes to the Fire Bureau, we just want to hurry up and get it done. And I would argue that, meeting with the public, meeting with the fire companies is a prudent and responsible thing to do for this Board of Supervisors. Now, I don't know what the decision is going to be moving forward, because there's a lot of very interesting issues surrounding this particular thing. Issues that the public is not necessarily aware of. Some of them are minor issues, I grant you, but there are issues that need to be addressed. And we're doing the best that we can to follow a process to make certain that what we do now is the bedrock foundation of what we do for the next 6 months, 6 years, yes, even for 60 years. And as much as there's frustration on the part of many of the volunteer firemen and many of the residents, some of the people that have shown up at these meetings, I'm absolutely convinced that we're proceeding cautiously and deliberatively, which is absolutely appropriate when we're making this kind of dramatic change in our Fire Bureau. I want to give Director Kashiba and Deputy Fire Chief Graham great credit for the work that they've done without receiving direction from the Board of Supervisors with respect to goals, objectives, and a vision. I just think that that responsibility rests with us, and we need to do it appropriately. We will have our meeting with the public next meeting on June the 10th, and from that we should have the appropriate amount of information to schedule a vote and to move forward. I ask your indulgence while we do our due diligence, which is only appropriate. These fire companies were established in the 1930s. So they've been doing volunteer fire, taking care of fires in this township for darn near 100 years. And they've done a really, really, really good job. And just as it's incumbent upon us to give them the resources that they need, it's also incumbent upon us to not make decisions that are going to hurt them. So while you may not see that as a good thing, I understand. And if you want to criticize us for not doing what you want us to do fast enough, I do absolutely believe that the due diligence that we're utilizing this time to learn and to make certain that we do the right thing, not the quick thing. Those are my comments on the Fire Bureau. Thank you.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question of you in regard to what he just said?
Yeah, it is out of order, but we'll allow it. Go ahead.
What vote are we talking about? What in God's name is he talking about? It's already been voted on and approved. What is he talking about? Is it up in the air? Is this board that's sitting before us now considering reversing and not hiring these 10 firefighters? Because that's what's coming out of his mouth. This is my time right now, and it's her running the meeting, Mr. McCormick, not you. That is the perception of many people in the public, the firefighters, and I just don't know. I'm completely confused as to why we feel we need a vote, and is the vote whether you're going to move forward with hiring these guys or not.
Eventually, I do think there is a decision that should be on our agenda to hire the firefighters. I will tell you, I support, and I do not want to speak for the entire board, the decision has not come before them yet, that I support the hiring of career firefighters so long as we do not undermine our volunteers. And I do believe that the other supervisors support this, as they have already mentioned on the record. Thank you. And we will allow people to follow up. I'm going to limit you to a minute because public comment has passed on this issue. Thank you.
Robin Lindsay, 6244 Overview Lane, Harrisburg. During the budget season last year, there were public meetings. That budget workshop, they are open to the public. There was public that came. There was volunteer firefighters that came. There was stipend firefighters that came. So you keep saying public meeting. The budget workshop is open to anybody in the township. And like I said, there was people there. So my question is, if you decide not to do this, we started on February 4th as a resident being taxed. And the money that we're being taxed was the money that we put out there for the 10 career volunteer firefighters. If you decide not to do this, are we going to get a rebate?
Thank you, Ms. Lindsay. And I will just, oh, go ahead. Thank you.
It's J. Purdy, 4731 Duke Street. If I may, you talked about due diligence and studying and stuff. But 3 weeks ago, the fire chief sat here and said, we don't know almost from one day to the next if we have enough people to drive our fire trucks. It's not like, it's a daily danger now. Due diligence might be okay for buying, and I've used the example before, playground equipment. But right now, you're talking about human lives and property. If you have to schedule special meetings and move the schedule up, please do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Purdy. And Ms. Lindsay is absolutely correct. Every meeting, there is public comment, and anybody from the public who wants to comment on any item pertaining to township business is free to do that. Thank you, Mr. Lindsay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Joe Lindsay, 6244 Overview Lane in Lower Paxton Township. I'm sitting here listening to all this, whatever you call it, and I'm just wondering, we have a very good public safety director. We have a very good assistant fire chief back here. We spend $30-some thousand after we've already spent $50,000 to do a study, and we're talking about educating our new board. I don't have a problem with that. But did we have to spend $30,000 when all we needed to do was sit down with our public safety director and this gentleman back here, and they could have educated you, and it would not have cost taxpayers one penny more than the $50,000. But we all know why it was done the way it was done. Thank you, Madam Chair, for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. Are there any other board member comments at this time? Okay.
Supervisor Kurtz, Mr. Packer put words in my mouth I did not say. I just want to, I never said that we were not going to do anything. I said we were going to make certain that what we were doing was the appropriate thing. That's all. I dislike it when people claim that I say things that I have not said.
Moving on, manager's report, Mr. Gutschall.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, I have two items this evening, first of which was already mentioned previously by Mr. Miller, Sam Miller, that is. However, just want to remind folks that Penn Waste is having in conjunction with the township, a spring cleanout day scheduled for Saturday, June 7th. This Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon, rain or shine, which is going to take place at Penn Grant Center, which is 777 East Park Drive. Participants are reminded that this is a self-unloading event, and you must bring your own dolly or other hand truck if you are so inclined to do so. Individuals are permitted to come and drop off bulk items to include also items with Freon, and we have more information on our website with regard to this event. But again, June 7th, 8 to noon, 777 East Park Drive. See you there. My other item this evening, we don't get to do it often, but it's rather...
I'm sorry, Mr. Gottscho, can you move back to the clean-out day?
Okay.
Just a quick question regarding appliances. I'm looking at this. Is this in reality the dumpster that's actually going to be on site? Are people going to be able, I see appliances, so for instance, is someone going to be able to walk their refrigerator into the dumpster? I don't see anybody being able to lift it that high to get it in there. You understand my question?
I do. That's just a pick. I'm not aware of the precise receptacles they'll have, but there will be pen waste staff there, and this will be an orderly sort of an event. So I'll get more information on that, but no, I don't believe it would be anticipated that people lift refrigerators and things up into a big dumpster like that. So we'll get clarity on that for you.
Thank you.
My other item, again, doesn't happen often, but we do from time to time invite new members of staff to join the board and introduce themselves, and that way we get the board introduced to those members, but also members of the public. And so with us this evening, we have Matthew Jaroslawski, who began as the Township's Public Works Director back on May 19th. Matt, a resident of neighboring West Hanover Township, joins us as a continuation of a long, distinguished career in the United States Marine Corps, and most recently, the private sector as an operations manager of a machine production company. During his tenure in the Marine Corps, First Sergeant Jaroslawski served multiple combat deployments, humanitarian missions, and global training exercises. Through his work carrying out orders as an instructor, and prior experiences in combat, Matt oversaw mission-critical infrastructure projects and assisted in war-torn nation and society rebuilding efforts and developed elite training programs. I'm excited to welcome Matt back to the start of his now third week with the township, where I know he'll continue making great contributions to a talented group of experts within the Public Works Department and, of course, the entire township organization beyond that. Matt, I can't see you back there, but if you want to come on up to the podium. Hello, sir.
Thanks, Mr. Gotchell.
Welcome.
Pleasure to be here, members of the board. Look forward to working with you, and to all the citizens and residents of Lower Paxton. Look forward to helping you through some issues we got, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that is all I have.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Mr. Gutschall. Seeing nothing other old business, we'll move to new business. Action item 8.1 to appoint the Lower Paxton Township Authority Board. Supervisor McCormick?
We have 7 members of the municipal authority, and 3 supervisors who resigned were members of the municipal authority, so we're down 3 members. We've properly advertised for anyone interested in joining the municipal authority to submit an application. We received an application from Don Enders. We've also gotten agreement by 2 supervisors who to sit on the municipal authority. That would be John Najin and Laura Kurtz. So I make a recommendation, I make a nomination for the 3 members that I just mentioned, Don Enders, Laura Kurtz, and John Najin, to be appointed to the municipal authority.
I will second that motion.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Action number, action, oh,
Just want to
sorry, thank you.
David Blaine, 1197 Ackland Farms Court. I just wanted to welcome you. I'm the chairman of the Lower Paxton Township Authority, and I just wanted to welcome yourself, John, and my good friend Don Enders to the Lower Paxton Township Authority Board. Just a little background. I think, as you know, as you've studied the budget, the authority has as much debt, if not more debt, than the township itself, and has a budget that's probably bigger than the township in general in regards to its projects. So the appointment of qualified individuals like yourselves is very important to the Lower Paxton Township Authority in order to keep rates And we have municipal finance matters that go on. We'll be doing a bond offering next year again. So there's a number of different things that go on at the Lower Paxton Township Authority that I just want to mention, and I think it might not be a bad idea for those board members that are not on the authority to also get educated as to what happens at the Lower Paxton Township Authority in regards to the projects that are occurring, such as the project that Mr. Packer and, yes, that's my brother, Mr. Blaine, has talked to you about on Kenwood Drive. But we also have other projects that are going on as well throughout Lower Paxton Township that are multi-million-dollar projects. So I would be more than happy as chair of the board. I've been on the board for 22 years. I think I'm pretty well-versed in what goes on with the authority. I'd be more than happy to meet with the Board of Supervisors to get you more educated and up to speed with what happens at the Lower Paxton Township Authority and the projects that are going on. Get you up to speed with the Department of Environmental Protection's consent decree that we have to meet, as well as what happens with the MS4 and some of the other stuff that happens with the stormwater, because stormwater is also part of the Township Authority's responsibility. So as you can see, it's rather large, has a lot of activity, has significant impact to the citizens of Lower Paxton Township. Be happy to meet with any of you or to meet with you as a whole to just get you a little bit more up to speed, knowing that we have a pretty new board up here as a Board of Supervisors. So my comments to you. Just want to welcome new members and look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blaine. And any opportunity that I can have to attend more meetings that Mr. Packer and Mr. Blaine will be at to provide public comment, count me in.
I didn't
Thank
say
you.
they would be at those meetings.
They will. Thank you. All right, under new business 8.2, action to approve a memorandum of understanding with Ghostwriter LLC for Possibility Place and Happy Tales Dog Park renovation consultation work. Director Scott.
Good evening, board members. In support of advancing two priority park projects, Reimagining Possibility Place Inclusive Playground and the Community Dog Park Initiative, I respectfully request the board's approval to enter into a contract with Ghostwriter LLC for their professional fundraising services. These projects represent a $2 million investment in accessibility, recreation, and community well-being. Ghostwriter brings a strong track record in public sector fundraising and offers a comprehensive results-driven approach that includes strategic campaign planning, targeted outreach to grants and major donors, compelling messages and campaign communications, and community and stakeholder engagement. Their team will help us launch a high-impact campaign without overburdening our internal staff, positioning us to secure corporate, foundation, and individual support. By approving a contract with Ghostwriter LLC under the terms of Retainer C, the board will allow staff to strategically work with a professional partner to launch a community-driven fundraising campaign. This collaboration will significantly help to strengthen our ability to deliver impactful and lasting enhancements to our park system.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Director Scott?
So how much is the contract going to cost?
Approximately $40,000
$40,000?
for a one-year commitment.
Okay. And for our $40,000, what are they suggesting that they're going to raise for us?
They're fully aware of the $2 million request that we're going after.
$2 million goal. Okay. And tell me again, what's the length of the contract?
1 year.
1 year. All right, thank you. How many people are they going to dedicate to the fundraising effort?
They have a team, but we will have one person that we will be able to communicate through.
Okay, you said they have a team?
Correct.
All right. Will they for instance, will they be coming out to our events, like National Night Out? That would be a good fundraising opportunity, I would think.
They will be looking at the calendar of events, but also looking to have strategic events incorporated throughout the year as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Director Scott? Okay. I will make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with Ghostwriter LLC for Possibility Place and Happy Tales Dog Park park renovation consultation work.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I apologize. Ms. Scott, one other question. Do we have any type of personal relationship with this company?
No.
No.
No personal relationship. I had been searching for different fundraising groups out there, came across them. I contacted 2 of their references, but I have no contact with them outside of just searching them up.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, there was a properly made motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Public comment? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Scott. Item 8.3, action to adopt amendment number 1 to the management agreement between the Lower Paxton Township Authority and Lower Paxton Township. Mr. Gottschall.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board. Just as a programming note, of course, some members of this body and certainly some in this room are aware, but the authority board meeting of May 27th was the first kind of presentation of this item, publicly. Through a thorough review of the existing authority township management agreement by Solicitor Madden, Finance Director Miller, and Sewer Director Weaver, this longstanding agreement establishes the framework by which the authority essentially delegates daily administration functions to township staff. Over time, with the evolution of the organization, including, of course, the introduction of stormwater and associated billing practices, there exist a few contradictions between billing policies and practices and the existing management agreement as adopted. With the amendment before the board this evening, again, as was adopted by the authority board during their last meeting, it really just clarifies that the authority will set rates and handle all legal matters with regard to billing rates and collections of fees, something that was actually already being done in practice. But again, this legally codifies that practice. So I'd be happy to help answer any questions, but it is in order for the board to adopt this evening. Thank you.
Any questions? All right, may I have a motion to approve amendment number 1 to the management agreement between the authority and the township?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion, public comment? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4, action approving the creation of the position of Deputy Director of Community Development. Mr. Gottschall.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board. Before the board this evening, action to, of course, create the position of Deputy Director. The Community Development Department currently is a department of 5 individuals which oversees planning and zoning related activities, also code enforcement activities, and it's a very lean staff that does quite a bit throughout the township. It is a process that is involved through, of course, the township saldo, its subdivision and land development ordinances, zoning ordinances, and of course the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code. A lot of research is done within this department, and as well as enforcement out throughout the township. Before the board this evening is action to create the position of Deputy Director. This position would allow the individual to serve more in a role of preparing strategic visioning for the department to ensure that its lean staff continues to do great things effectively and efficiently. It would also allow that individual, the Deputy Director, to take the reins more with regard to administering and coordinating the township's planning process, something that continues to be a great need for the township. Township our size to not have on staff a planner is quite concerning. And so this step of creating this position is one step in the direction of ensuring that becomes a reality. And so the position would be slated within, quote, Management 1 within the township's salary structure. And at this point, I'd be happy to help answer any questions that the board may have on this item before it this evening.
Any questions from the board? Yes. Is there a motion on the table to approve?
I make a motion to approve the creation of the Deputy Director of Community Development.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion or public comment on this topic? Ms. Lindsay?
So I have a question. Is this a new position, or is somebody within the community development going to be taking this position? The reason I'm asking is because during the budget season, there was money put in the budget to hire another codes officer, and I am sure that that has not happened yet. So I want to know, is this a new, totally new position? Is somebody going to be put in that position that's already there? Or are you taking money that was put aside for a new, for an additional codes officer, which we truly need? If you run around the township and look, and I will report as a resident, I'm not happy with Rite Aid. It's almost 3 feet tall out there. So my question is this a new position, or are you taking the money that was there for a codes officer to create this position?
Mr. Gotchell, do you want to follow up on that?
Yes, sure. So this is a new position, although I do not anticipate that the number of bodies will increase as it relates to this action item. So if that helps clarify.
So where's the money coming from? Because it was not put in the budget for 2025.
Yes, thus the action by the board this evening to formally adopt that. It is beyond my purview to simply add things to the budget, so the board is taking that action this evening to do so.
So I'm thinking probably this position will go between 80 and 88,000. That's a heck of a lot of money of taxpayers' money that was not put in the budget when we truly, truly need another codes officer in this township. So I would advise you to think about this, because like I said, it was in the budget to hire another codes officer, and we do need that here in the township. Because again, if you're riding around, you're seeing people are not taking care of their properties. Grass is an issue. People are parking on their front lawns, which there is an ordinance that's been here for 11 years, not to be parking on the front lawns. So I would just appreciate if you would think about this before you do make a final vote.
Thank you, Ms. Lindsay. I will note that Director Zerby has reviewed the position and the job duties, and they are in order from her perspective. We do need to think about transition when Director Zerby retires, and I think that the position was created in light of that going forward. So we understand, though, that we do need a dedicated codes officer, and that responsibility does need to be undertaken.
My question wasn't answered. Are you money that was put aside for a new codes
I don't think so.
to be part of this hiring of this new position?
That is, sorry, Mr. Gottschall, do you want to, go ahead.
I was just going to say that there's not, there's not money specifically tied to bodies. So with regard to the concept of robbing Peter to pay Paul, it doesn't apply in this sense. We will not be adding to the complement of bodies within the department. The department will remain static from this action. So we're not going to be taking money away from anybody, or it's merely creating a new position within the structure, the existing structure of the department. So
then what I'm understanding is somebody in the department is going to be taking this position.
A decision has not been made on that point, but that's a reasonable assumption, Ms. Lindsay. Thank you.
And we still haven't got another codes officer that was put in the budget that was past the middle.
Agreed. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Subdivision and land development, item 9.1, improvement guarantees. Supervisor Thompson.
I make a motion to approve the improvement guarantee for Shade Brook, also known as Union Station. I've reviewed that with with Director Zerby, so that's pretty much in the wind-up process. So I make a motion to approve the improvement guarantee.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion or public comment? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and Lower Paxton Township Authority. Supervisor Thompson.
So my new contact person, as we have lost Finance Director Sam Miller, is Jada Dunlap. She worked with Mr. Miller over the last couple of years. I reviewed the several check registers with her. I make a motion to approve the bills.
I'll second. Any discussion or public comment? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Any announcements?
This is probably not going to be popular, but I just want to make an announcement that the June 10th meeting, we are advertising that for the public to come and have their comments made known on the proposed changes, additions to the Fire Bureau. Hope all the public shows up and gives us their opinion on that matter.
Any other announcements? Okay, with that, I will make a motion to adjourn. So moved. A second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, everybody.